Ladies and gentlemen, as you know, we've been doing a lot of reviews on motorcycles, and today we're going to be reviewing a motorcycle rider's favorite, the Yamaha R1. Now, this is a 2003 Yamaha R1, and notice how it says Fiat on it. I looked up the definition of Fiat, and it said one of the definitions was to command something with power. So I thought that was apropos for this bike. Let's put the camera in the helmet here. Hold on a second. We're filming with the Kodak V570 camera. Now, this bike is basically a street legal racing bike. It is fuel injected, and 0 to 60 in about 3 seconds, give or take a second or two. And we're going to start it up, show you a little bit of street riding, and then we'll get on the freeway because that's where the bike comes into its own. Now, we're going to go through this review and we're going to rate things 1 to 5 stars, okay? 1 to 5 stars. 5 being a really good thing and 1 being a bad thing. Let's go this way. So first of all, seating position. I'm going to talk about my personal rating. I rated a 5. I like being raked over on this type of bike where it has a lot of power to it. The looks of the bike are just phenomenal. It doesn't get any better than this, in my opinion. Just a truly epic motorcycle. Shifting, pretty easy. I don't really notice anything unusual about the shifting. It's a 6-speed bike. I'll get into some of the negatives in a moment. Well, let's just talk about one. A lot of guys will talk about the heat that this bike gives off, and it does give off a lot of heat, you know. You have to wear pretty good gear or jeans in order to not be scorched by the heat. The seat, the actual seat that I'm sitting on, the stock seat, you know, that these bikes come with, is adequate. It's really good. I would also rate that a 5, you know. If you're like a Harley rider or you ride bikes that have these custom seats, you might rate it like a 3 or a 4. I rate it a 5 because it's not bad for a sport bike. Handling is phenomenal. We're going to be getting on the freeway here real quick because the streets are kind of slow and I know you guys want to see it at speed. This bike really isn't a bike to be putting along stoplight to stoplight. It heats up on you real quick. This is a racing bike through and through. Now, this guy's got the green arrow. Let's see if he goes through it. Awesome. Let me tell you something, in my opinion, a good way to explain this bike. Other bikes, you know, that you ride, like other motorcycles, when you're trying to get up to speed, there's a moment where, hold on, let me stop here. There's a moment where the wind starts rushing faster and faster, and you know, like, your bike is now hitting that moment. Here's the freeway. This bike, it's like instantly where the wind starts going like rushing past. Now the seating position is it almost feels like, if you've ever ridden another motorcycle, like let's say some of the Ninjas or ZX14, ZX10, this bike, the position seems different, somewhat like you're towards the front of the wheel. I don't think that's really the case, but it has this phenomenon like you're, let's put it in gear, waiting for the light to turn. It has this phenomenon like you are like up front more. I don't think that's the case, obviously, but a lot of bikes you seem like you're in the middle of the bike. This one, it kind of seems like you're up front more. Now we got one more red light, and then finally we get some cool air into this beast. Are you kidding me? Oh wait a minute, I think I can sneak out there to the faster speeds. like to show you the acceleration, but of course, there's people here, but let not your heart be troubled. We're going to switch freeways. Look at this guy with the three-wheel trike type bike. But just look at the handling is phenomenal. Very, very light bike. I've tested it at high speeds. There's really no wind buffeting, and you could always tuck down. It has a fuel light that goes on when you're short of fuel. I've heard it through the grapevine. You can go probably the lowest 20 miles to about 30 miles on the reserve, and we are going to lane split, which is legal in California. I was talking to a police officer. He said California is the only state where lane splitting is actually legal. Everyone wants to go on the freeway that I want to go on. Now, let's talk about application of this bike in the real world. Now, you notice we're in bumper-to-bumper traffic. I want to show you something. First gear, you could... Oh, wait. Go ahead. Go ahead, brother. Semi wants to get over. First gear, you could stay in first gear for a while. Watch this. Let me kind of... Well, I don't want to shift down to first. Let's go up here like this. But you could stay in first gear lane splitting. The ride, as far as... It's kind of a stiff ride, you know, but... You know, you're not off-roading or anything. You know, you're on the freeways and it's paved pretty well. Trying to get you up to speed. Oh, the headlights, phenomenal. Very, very bright, which is why you see some people moving. Well, except this guy, he's moving towards me. Why you see people moving away. What else could I tell you? I like that it's fuel injected. It starts right up in the morning. Like, you don't have to mess with the carb or anything like that. Now, you ever watch these YouTube videos and see where my finger's at? Right here? This light right here? Well, there's a light that you could set. It's called the shift light. Shift like indicator light. And if you want to have a light go on when you get to a certain RPM on the tack over here, this light will go on. And that's good because it gets to redline so fast. Of course, if you had if you had some room. It looks like the traffic's moving all the way to the left there, so I'm going to see if I can move all the way left. And they do let you also get in the carpool lane in California. So what this light does, if you ever watch these YouTube videos where the guy's riding and all of a sudden the light goes on, it's because he's approaching a preset number on the tack where he wants to shift. So that light like reminds him to shift. He doesn't have to be having his eye on the tachometer all that time. So good, we are going to be able to get some speeds. So the dash, the way they have the dash here is phenomenal. I like it. Easy to read at nighttime. It's backlit pretty well. But this is not what this bike is made for, so it's good that you see it kind of in the real world. Now I want to show you something. Oh, this is awesome. Thanks, guys. One more. Thanks, brother. Okay, I'm in first gear. Watch this. First gear still. First gear, we're going 50. Just phenomenal. It's not even breaking a sweat. Went up to second. Second gear, just to show you, we're at 5,000 RPMs at 45 miles per hour. Go up to third gear, we're just kind of coasting a little downhill. Once you start going, you see those temperatures really drop. See how we got these bumps on the freeway like this? There's a little smooth patch here. The bumps, because it is a firm ride, the bumps will get to you, but this is just because the freeway is going downhill. I notice when it's going downhill, a lot of times they'll put bumps on the freeway. It gets about, I heard, about 35 miles per gallon. you must use 91 premium fuel in the R1. Alright, brother, let's pick up here, pick up some speed. It just really wants to move, you know. Now, let me, hold on a second, my nose itches. One of the things I've noticed too, and I call it professionalism, the bike really has smooth acceleration, smooth shifting, nothing is, let's call it traumatic, everything is smooth, like check this out, just absolutely smooth acceleration, doesn't make a big deal about it, it just gets the job done. I like to use the phrase professionalism. So like I was saying, on most bikes, when you get on it and you give it full throttle, it takes a while for that rush, like the wind to kind of go past you. This one is like instant. Almost done with the bumps. Thank goodness we're done with the bumps. Now we're getting some good speed, and this is where this bike comes into its own. The handling also is perfect. Out of all the motorcycles I've ridden, this one I would say is absolutely perfect. The heat is a factor. I'm out here in California, so the heat is a factor as far as it burning you. Like, I mean, you really get a lot of heat, but it's nothing where you're like, you can't live with it, because as you start going, the temperature goes down. It's just if you're in bumper-to-bumper traffic, that's really sucks. But that's par for the course with like any bike. These drivers here get a little crazy, so I'm cautious about lane splitting. Just because lane splitting is legal doesn't mean it's safe. I always see every morning on the TV, motorcycle rider down, and it's always because cars are moving out in front of them while they're lane splitting, almost all the time. So here we go, watch, we're getting from this white truck on the left. Just simple, smooth acceleration, perfect bike. I can see why everyone makes a big deal about the R1. Now we're going about 60, it's only at 4,000 RPMs, guys. Just phenomenal. A lot of torque. What else can I tell you? The brights are very bright. It sort of reminds me of the SV1000. We reviewed the SV1000. I'll put some motorcycle reviews below this video so you can watch them. And the SV1000 also has very good headlights. Not really a lot of corners we're getting, but the corners, you have this supreme confidence going around the corners. The bike, you really have the sensation of you can feel it planted on the road. Notice we're not getting a lot of buffeting of the wind. So I'm going to try to get on it one more time as this opens up here. So we are going to have to go on this little, let's go this way. Again, if you do a lot of freeway riding, this is the bike for you. I want to show you something. A lot of motorcycles are just winding out like a stuck pig on the freeway because they're up there in the 10,000 of the tach. It says 68 and we're only going like 4,500 RPM, only have 4,500 RPMs on the tach. I like that. The bike doesn't struggle. Again, professionalism. Tucking down. I will say this is a bike you are going to have to fight to not get tickets, because it's just instantly so fast. Let's show you some of this smooth acceleration. We did some reviews on some other bikes. Click below this video to see it. I would suggest that you guys do that. If you know someone that wants to get an R1, click share below this video and send this to them. Notice this bike, look right here where I'm pointing, it has a steering, this damper here, so you don't get this handlebar wobble, you know, where the handlebars start to wobble. Just a lot of fun. When you take your hand off the throttle, it does start to slow down rapidly, like the engine will tend to, you know, cause it to slow down. And look at that, the gas light just went on. So at least it has a gas light. So thanks for watching, guys. Click share below this video and send this to your motorcycle buddies. I would rate the R1 a 5 out of 5. It definitely is a blast to ride. It's just phenomenal. Great bike. See, this one's out of service, so I'll wait for this guy in the truck. Let's shut it off and show you some things. So, if you guys have never ridden, this is the, everything on the right is braking. So this is the front brake. This is the rear brake right here. Everything on the left is shifting. This is the clutch, and then down here is the shift lever right here. You shift up to shift up, like 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and you shift down to shift down. So thanks for watching this video, guys. Click below this video to see some more motorcycle reviews we have done. Have a great week.